Again, I'm so excited presenting this lesson to this YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to start writing skill, which is sentence errors. Now, sentence errors is one of the kinds of writing which makes a sentence wrong, incomplete, and meaningless. So this is called sentence error. To get a writing understandable, readable, and meaningful, a sentence should be written correctly. So there are some cases which makes the sentence wrong or wrong meaning. So these are called sentence errors. Unless we avoid these sentence errors, the sentence or the paragraph that we write is meaningless. So still, I'm talking about sentence error mean. So these are some of the examples which are called sentence errors. What run-on sentence, what comma splice, what fragment, and what dangling modifier, misplaced modifier, faulty parallelism, and the pronoun antecedents. All these are examples of sentence errors. Unless we have to just take care of, or we have to aware ourselves to write a meaningful sentence, a sentence cannot convey meaning. So the first thing we consider is about how we identify the sentence error types, and then what kinds of methods, what kinds of strategies do I use or do we employ to correct that kind of sentence errors. So we are going to see this one by one. So the first is run-on sentence. Run-on sentence is, as I explained before, one type of sentence error which is formed by two independent clauses cannot be separated by a comma. That kind of sentence error is run-on, or fused sentence. We can say that fused sentence. Let me repeat once, please. Sentence errors are, it's a kind of words and phrases which makes the sentence incomplete or meaningless. So the first one is run-on or fused. There are two main clauses. That two clauses cannot separate with a comma. So this is run or fused sentence. Fused means two sentences mutually interact without a kind of punctuation between the two clauses. So this fused mean fused. So how can we identify the sentence are fused or not? The first one, we are able to identify the two types of main clauses and what punctuation mark is between the two. And finally, we are going to just correct that kind of sentence error. So this one sentence error, what run-on sentence mean? Here, identify the types of errors and correct the errors. These are the first basic important things to write the sentence correctly. What error does the sentence has? Doesn't the sentence have? And how can we correct them? There was a bad accident on the highway. Many people go hurt. So no comma between them here. There was a bad accident on the highway. Yeah, many people. It seems one sentence, but there are two independent clauses here. So we are able to identify the two independent sentences, and we have to just categorize. We have to underline and then try to write correctly. So here, there was a bad accident on the highway, full stop. Many people got hurt, another independent clause. So the first way is we can just put a period at the end of the first clause, and the second clause should begin with capital letter. So this is ways of correcting for that run-on sentence. So there was a bad accident on the highway, full stop. Many people go hurt. So many, the first M should be written as capital letter. So this is the first way of correcting for this run-on sentence. This has a meaningful sentence here. In the first case, which has sentence error, so the type of sentence error is run-on. So we have also another way of correcting this one. We can just use a coordinating conjunction and comma before a coordinating conjunction. What are the coordinating conjunctions? Use fanboys, F-A-N-B-O-U-S, fan for, A and, B but, and N nor, O or, Y S, S so. All these are examples of coordinating conjunction. So we have to just use a kind of this coordinating conjunction according to the sentence it gives meaning. So this is the second example. The third one, there was a bad accident on the highway, semicolon, many people go hurt. So there is a semicolon between the two independent clauses if the second clause is related with the first clause. semicolon is important. The function of semicolon is to not separate words, no separate phrases, no separate something. But if the second clause is related with the first one, we have better use semicolon. So this is also another way. No, the first letter cannot be capitalized when we join or separate the two clauses with a kind of semicolon here. So M should be written as what's called its small letter. And the other one is there is subordinating conjunctions. Some of the subordinating conjunctions are clause adverbs, manner adverbs, conjunction, result, reason. All these are examples of subordinating. How subordinating conjunction is different from coordinating. Coordinating conjunctions are important to make compound sentence. But in case of subordinating, we consider dependent clause and one independent clause. They may sometimes form complex sentence and compound complex sentence. So all the 8 adverb clauses are subordinating conjunctions. So we have to just use one of the subordinating conjunctions whenever we are talking about correcting run-on sentences. So it depends on the meaning of the sentence to use the kind of subordinating conjunction. Unless if the sentence doesn't need any kind of subordinating conjunction, we had better just correct that run-on sentence either of the ways of correcting it. So it's not mandatory to use all the 4 ways of correcting the sentence. We might use one way or maybe the other 2 ways. So this is. So in this case here, there was an accident on the highway. As a result, many people got, because the second is the result for the first one. So as a result is possible, resulted in is possible, therefore it's possible, and consequently is also possible. These are examples of subordinating conjunctions here. As a result, many people got out is dependent, and the first clause is an independent. Here, this is complex sentence. So, the second example, our English teacher give us lots of tests. They are usually difficult. Here, no punctuation, it seems one, but it doesn't give a meaning, sentence error. If you write such kind of sentence, it seems meaningful, but it doesn't give a meaning. The word by itself has a meaning, yes? Each word in a sentence has a meaning, but the whole sentence doesn't give a meaning because there is sentence error. The sentence error is there is no punctuation mark between the 2 independent clauses here. So here, the type of error is run or few sentence, because as I explained before, no punctuation mark between the 2 independent clauses. So we have to just use 4 ways of correcting this one. We put a period between the 2 clauses, and the first letter should be written as capital letter, so they are usually difficult. The second way is our English teacher give us a lot of tests, and they are usually difficult. There is a conjunction, coordinating conjunction, and there is a comma before the coordinating conjunction, but the meaning of the second example is similar with the first example, but the difference is what? The structure of writing that sentence. It's also another way of writing the sentence. It's also another best ways. And the third one, there is a semicolon between the 2 independent clause, possible. And the other one, there is subordinating conjunction between the 2 independent clause. This is also the 4 ways of correcting the run-on sentence. So we have to just use either of the 4 ways, or we practice all the 4 ways of correcting any run-on sentences. How do we identify run-on sentence? First, read the sentence, and what sentence is this? That the first sentence is independent? What about the second sentence? After identifying on this way, this type of error is run-on sentence. And then try to just correct the run-on sentence, please. And the other one, and another example is Egypt is one of the most ancient countries. It's famous for its pyramids. All right. Egypt is one, it talks about Egypt, and the second sentence talks about Egypt, so there is a need of punctuation mark here. No punctuation mark between them. So this example of sentence error is run-on still. So we have to just use this run-on sentence with the correct ways of correcting this run-on sentence here. Put a period, and just there is a coordinating conjunction and a comma, and there is a semicolon, and there is also what? Subordinating conjunction. This is unacceptable ways of correcting this run-on sentence. The other example is a question. Which one of the sentence is run-on sentence? 4 different sentences are given. So which one do you think is an example of run-on sentence? You have to take care of, please, here. As I explained before, what are the structure or the forms of run-on sentence? We consider 2 independent clauses and no comma here. So that is an example of run-on sentence here. Look here. I'm going to go to the movies tonight. Do you want to come with me? Yes. There is a question and there is a statement here. I'm going to the movies tonight. Do you want to come with me? Yeah. Let's pass to this one. B. The movie I want to see is supposed to be very scary. I'm talking about the movie and no another independent clause here. So this is an example of simple sentence. So we cannot categorize this sentence as run-on. Simply it is simple sentence. The second, I'll go to a different movie. If you don't like a movie, this is complex sentence because there is dependent clause there and there is an independent clause here. And no comma between the two clauses because there is a conjunction between the two clauses if. So this is also complex sentence, so it's not a kind of run-on sentence. No comma is between the two dependent and independent clause, not run-on sentence. The other, my friend Susan is supposed to meet me at the movie theater. This is also an example of simple sentence. No two independent sentence. No need to put a comma between them. So the best example is the first one, A. Because I'm going to go to the movie tonight. This is one sentence and it cannot be separated with a comma. And the second question word do can be written as capital letter. So here, the first example is grouped under run-on sentences. But the rest three are not because they are, one is complex sentence, the other two are simply simple sentence. So we cannot be grouped this sentence as run-on sentence. So look, this one, run-on sentence is different from the other ways of writing sentence, the other ways of writing, because it consists of two independent clauses here. So this is an example of run-on sentence. So run-on by itself is two independent sentences. Two independent clauses cannot be separated with a comma, so they are called run-on sentences. So I told you the ways of correcting run-on sentence, and you have to just practice correcting run-on sentence. Your sentence that you write is meaningful. So the first thing that you consider is identify the type of sentence error and what mechanics do I use to correct that run-on sentence. This is what I want to say about run-on sentence. So you should practice by giving your own examples to improve your writing skill. Thank you for watching my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and like my lesson. Thank you very much. That's enough for today. Next, we will try to continue the second sentence error, which is called faulty parallelism.